Okay, Christina here to listen to some music. And today's music selection is track 1 of Dark Side of the Moon, Speak to Me, and Breathe in the Air by Pink Floyd. So, this is something new on the channel. Haven't tried this yet. I am doing a full album reaction. But, I'm doing it one song at a time. But I'm doing it in rapid succession. I'm just letting each track sink in just a little bit before I move on to the next one. So this album will be slowly released for channel members and on Patreon as exclusive content. It will eventually be released to the public on YouTube, or at least certain tracks of it. So I'm going to be doing this first track of Dark Side of the Moon, but then I'm going to wait 24 hours before I do the next one. I want it to sink in a little bit more. I want to get to know each track a little bit more than just one time through before I go on to the next. But it's still going to be compact enough that I get the whole feeling of the entire album all at once. So we'll see how this works. I'm also going to be wearing my Pink Floyd gear for the listening of this album. This shirt was given to me by a longtime supporter, both on the movie channel and on the music channel. So thank you, Celeste, for sending this t-shirt. And for those of you who are still just getting to know me, who am I and what am I doing here? What is all of this about? I am a professional classically trained musician, instrumentalist, vocalist, composer, and university professor. So we talk about a whole bunch of different aspects of all of this music. I do a lot of demonstrations. I learn a little something. You all learn a little something. It's a good mix of education and entertainment. So it's wonderful to have you all here with me in this little journey. Again, we're just going to sort of take this one step or one track at a time and see how it works. Okay, so enough talking. Let's listen. Okay, so also, some of you might already know my history with Pink Floyd. I know one album already before I started the channel, and it was from when I was a teenager. A friend of mine introduced me to one of their albums, and that is Momentary Lapse of Reason. I know that album forwards and backwards. I love it. So I am sort of a Pink Floyd fan already, but only in this little tiny, tiny, tiny universe. I've done one other reaction on the channel so far to Pink Floyd, and that was to a live version of Comfortably Numb, and I loved it. Loved it. So this is my first exposure to another full album of theirs, and I am so excited. I do think I'm familiar a little bit with maybe one or two of the songs in this album because I think a couple of them are super famous and popular. And so, of course, I've heard a few things here and there, but never a really close listen, and certainly not the whole album experience. So this is going to be so great. All right, here we go. Okay. I'm hearing the word breathe, so I'm assuming that now we're into the breathe part. So that was just goosebumps through the whole thing so far. Wow. Okay. Not sure what the heck was going on with all that opening stuff, but I don't care. Just throw it all in. Mixing bowl, just throw it in. I heard little bits and pieces of just whatever. Love it. Okay. But then when the music came in, it segued in. I'm assuming that that was the Breathe song. That was magical. That was magical. I felt like I was just lifting out of my chair. Otherworldly. And again, I talk about fingerprints all the time of certain musicians and certain bands, and because of my exposure to Momentary Lapse of Reason and Comfortably Numb, the one song, I know their fingerprints, and it's there. And it's so wonderful. Okay. I'm going to back it up because I need to hear that part again. I need to. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Is that the end of the song? Let me just double check. Okay, so I just looked it up, like the track listing on Wikipedia, and it just says that it goes just right into the next one. And so this one ended very abruptly. And I don't know what's coming next, but that's kind of the mystery of this so far, and I'm going to run with it. This might be one that I could continue listening to, but I'm going to stick with my plan. I'm going to just speak about the first sort of official track, even though it's two things in there as well, the speak to me and the breathe in the air. Okay, this is complicated. It's a complicated album, but we're going to get through this, and we're going to get through this together. But I really stand by me needing to let each track soak in just a little bit. I will catch the transitions. I will. So when we go into the next track, I will make sure that I can go back and catch that transition. I think there was just no way to avoid it being really abrupt for just this one. So please forgive me if that's uncomfortable for anyone out there. All right. But this track, so the fingerprints, like I said, are just all over. And talking about breathing, I am so glad they said the word breathe, because I was not breathing. I was holding my breath because it was just so magical for me. I need to look up the lyrics really quickly. Okay, there were no lyrics for the first part. It says heartbeat, ticking clocks, clinking coins, cash register. I heard the cash register. All right, so what are the actual words? Breathe. Breathe in the air. Don't be afraid to care. Leave, but don't leave me. And all you touch and all you see is all your life will ever be. Okay, so I heard run, rabbit, run. Dig that hole. And I think that's really interesting, because all of this music that I am experiencing on the channel here, when I dig into a new band and everyone is saying, welcome to the rabbit hole. And so here we're talking about run, rabbit, run, dig that hole. I really feel like I'm really digging into something here. You race towards an early grave. Okay. So is this about, how you spend your life? Digging holes? Maybe digging holes in the sand? Making your life worthwhile? Spending your time wisely? I don't know. But only if you ride the tide. So maybe go with the flow. Don't try to be so perfect. Or you race towards an early grave. Okay. Musically, again, those fingerprints. So I don't know what in the world was happening in the beginning, all the different sound effects. Was it sort of like what they do at the beginning of musicals, where they have an overture and they give you little snippets of all the main songs? Is that kind of what that was? Because if so, then I think I know one of the songs on this album. Because one of the sound effects, maybe the cash register, I think I know what that song is coming up. But maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. But we'll get there. And so that's really cool. I'm sort of thinking back to my own personal Pink Floyd experience through a momentary lapse of reason. And I'm thinking of all the sounds at the beginning. There were boat sounds, and that goes directly into, the creepy sort of the Dogs of War sort of sounds. And I love albums that start out sort of experimentally like this, playing with different textures and different sounds that are going to eventually tell a story, but they're leaving you kind of in wonderment for now. And that's definitely where I'm sitting right now. Okay, but when the music came in, not just the sound effects, but the music, it was just immediate goosebumps for me. That moment. I got to hear it again. Let's go back to that moment. Perfect. That cymbal rush, that perfect. Okay. And the reverb in the guitars and the smooth drums with all the hi-hat and everything is just, there's just something about Pink Floyd music that just wraps its arms around you. And then all the slidey stuff. Some of you already know that I love slidey music, and it's so slidey and it's so wonderful. I'm going to continue on and listen to some of the slides that are coming in. I love it so much. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, and so now we have to get into their chord usage. So I'm not going to dive too deeply into the chord theory. From what I can tell, it's just sort of swaying back and forth between a minor key and a major key. And that with all the slides and everything and the smooth percussion in the back, it just, I don't know, makes you feel like you're kind of floating in air or like in the womb or something. I don't know. There's something very comforting about it. So E minor to A major. Yeah, so E minor to A major. So I think that's the main center for the keys. Let's see. Love that little note up there. And then the neighboring tone up, the appoggiatura, sorry, up. Good. So we've got suspensions and all sorts of things. Okay, and then this little transition is really interesting. It is full of all sorts of interesting technical chord movements. And again, I'm not going to get into it that much. I would love to do a deep dive at some point, but this is just my initial listening. And yeah, we're going to refrain from diving in too deeply. But all I can say is it is really rich, and how it moves. It's predictable yet surprising at the same time, and I love it. Okay, so now let's just see where the voice comes in. And here, the last couple of turns in the cool chord progression.
Breathe in the air. Don't be afraid to care. Don't leave me.
Okay, so again, fingerprint time. The vocals. It's done so easily and cleverly that you can hardly tell that there are harmonies. Like, you almost forget that it's not just one melody line, that there is that little harmony that's up higher. I love that Pink Floyd touch. Let's find a place where you can really hear it. Because at first when it comes in, it's hard to hear, but later there are a few really more obvious spots.
Don't leave me.
So, leave, don't leave me. But then there's this note, leave, don't leave me. Let's see if we can hear it.
Don't leave me.
Did you hear it? Leave, don't leave me. That little drop off in there is really gorgeous too. And sometimes it builds. You have even more notes added, but for the most part, it's just those two, and I love it. I love that.
Look around.
everything is just so unexpected. You hear the jazz organ coming in there, and it's just all the reverb, and it's just, oh, my brain is so happy. My ears are so happy. My heart is so happy. This is just wonderful. Okay, that was track 1 to Dark Side of the Moon. And I cannot wait to get to the next one. But I'm going to stick to my plan. So I'm going to listen to this track, just this track in full, until tomorrow. And then we're going to pick up from where we left off. And we're going to head into track number 2. I don't even know the name of it yet. we're just, one at a time. Because that's how I would listen to an album. I would open up the jacket of the tape or the CD. And by the way, you remember that smell? The smell of those jackets? There's something wonderful about it. But you know what? Sometimes I don't even look at the jacket. Sometimes I don't even look at the names. I am doing that with this. But sometimes I just hit play. And if I hear a really good track, I will rewind. I'll go back and listen to it again. And then move on. And if I'm following along in the jacket, I won't look ahead. No spoilers. I just see, oh, that's what this one is. And my brain can associate the name with that track. And so that's what I'm doing here. I am experiencing this full album really the way my brain really wants to. So thank you for joining me with this experiment here. I think it's going to be good. This first one was a little bit weird because it ended abruptly. And, sometimes that happens. But we'll make the best of it. And again, I've got my shirt on here for Dark Side of the Moon. This is my jersey. It'll be my uniform for this adventure. And we're just going to have fun. So thank you for joining me. All right, we'll see you back tomorrow with track 2 of Dark Side of the Moon. And as always, just remember that you don't have to be perfect, which is kind of what I think this song was saying. Just be okay and keep listening.